Well, I was trying to get you guys a view of the outside, but when I go outside, the pool is all full of, and the hot tub, they're full of kids having fun and people enjoying their weekend, and you won't be able to hear me over them. They're really enjoying themselves. And if I try and show what's outside the window and me, I'm either surrounded by a bright white light or my silhouette is completely black because of the lighting issues. So I have for you a fake indoor tree. Instead of the trees outside the door, I will look for a weekday opportunity to film with, to do these videos with more appropriate lighting. I'm so happy to be talking to you all again. I've missed you. It's been, as you know, a pretty challenging 10 days now for me. But I'm much better than I was. And it's just, I want you all to know that apparently this is all just part of the process of the first year. And we all like it a lot when things are going steadily upward and we feel fine. And I get very easily and very quickly comfortable and come to expect that when it's happening. And so when it stopped being that way and I struggled for a while, it's so funny because, there's all the time that there's no reason to expect steady progress upwards. And in fact, plenty of reason to expect the opposite. But then when you get off of a really good stretch, and when you've been up on the mountain and you're down in the valley again, it feels like, oh no, something's going wrong, and you get really, I don't get worried because I have an eternal perspective. And I know that to live is Christ, but to die is gain. If I pass away, I get to go home. So I'm not afraid of death. But still, being human, when things start to go not as good as they went before, that human nature inside me goes, oh, what's happening? What's happening? I got to figure this out. And I don't really. All I have to do is do the best I can until the Lord turns it around again. But, and rely on Him and trust in Him and try and keep my mind on an even keel and pray to Him to help me keep my mind on an even keel. So I don't go through a lot of psychological trauma when stuff like this happens, because that's the rock I stand on. He's the rock I stand on. So, but it still is, part of it is the perfectionist in me. I don't know how many of you know, but I was a medical laboratorian, a medical technologist in hospital laboratories, all the way from 700-bed hospitals down to 12-bed hospitals for my working career. And that's very precise, sciencey, got to be perfect, got to figure out problems with instrumentation and testing processes. And it was the ideal job for me because I overthink everything, absolutely everything. But these are the times when it becomes a little problematic, because along with my body working harder to get through a tough stretch, my mind is also click, 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 sorting through what could this be due to, what do I need to do, and that's Dr. Saya's job. He's the one with the experience. And I'm still not very used to approaching him and saying, what do you think this is? like, and what do you think we ought to do when something's going on like this? I still tend to approach it like one health professional to another, along the lines of, I thought it might be this, or is it this, or is it that? And what do we do about this stubborn girl who's having a hard time and doesn't like it, you know? And that is a perpetual struggle, I bet, for anybody who has worked in healthcare before and then finds themselves the patient. I remember how weird it felt when I got my lung embolisms in 2012 that led to finding out about all of this. How odd it was to be the person on the gurney and everybody's, rushing around, drawing blood, calling in the CT people, and I'm the one laying there in that luxurious, comfortable, all-covering Hospital Johnny, having IVs hooked up and getting medications and everything. It's quite the switch. I would say it's also been the most helpful thing in going through this experience is understanding how the hospitals work and how many factors there are and what is and is not poor care. Because a lot of people just, they think that the hospital norm, which is delays and changes and different plans on different days, all of that it takes to figure out what's making people sick and what ought to be done about it, all seems like people fumbling around not knowing what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're just following, like, some of you might be familiar with phone trees, where you have that whole trickle-down thing where everybody calls someone else. Well, they're following in their mind and in their textbooks and in best medical practices, they're following a phone tree. Okay, so this is going on. Well, is this or this going on? That's going on. Okay, so that gives us these three options. And then they have to try the three options. Or, it's all a process of considering every factor and trying to come to a conclusion. And if you want an idea how complicated that is, look up any random set of symptoms, and you will see that for tremor, sweating, dizziness, headaches, all things that I'm having, there's like 35 different things in the differential diagnosis that you have to pick through and follow, do testing, do follow-up, do this, that, and the other. And you can make some good predictions, especially as medicine has gotten better. But it is never going to be, ever, walk into your doctor's office, give you a pill, and you're done. It's never going to be that way. People get so frustrated that they try a medication and it doesn't work. You may try a dozen medications to find the one that works for you. It's also individual. And, we have our standard ways to do things, but patients all react differently. So whereas I'm having very little nausea, if anything at all, some people have a constant problem with nausea, and their medications need adjusting practically on a weekly basis because of that. So anyway, the ups and downs, I'm trying not to, I'm trying to go with the flow, ride the wave, and let I have such a good team, such a big team. There's like 50 people on the team that takes care of me. And this hospital has done 1,200 lung transplants in the last 20 years. So, maybe the last 30 years, but more and more all the time. Anytime you grab a statistic, 3 days later it's outdated, but that was the statistic that was quoted when they last made the batch of documents that talks about their program. Anyway, and they have the highest success rate in the nation except for Johns Hopkins, I think. So I trust my team, and if I just work at the pace that my body can tolerate, I can do everything I need to do. The frustrating thing is, I don't know how many of you are like this, when you're already feeling kind of slow and a little bit tired anyway, you work a little bit to your capacity, and then you sit down and rest. Well, anytime I sit down on something soft, it sucks me in, and next thing I know, I'm waking up from a 2-hour nap. So I've taken to setting my phone alarm so that every hour I'm getting up and doing a little task, and then when I sit down again, if it didn't take too much out of me, I set the timer for half an hour. And after I've had a little bit of water and checked a few, things online, I go back to trying to do another little task. But, oh, am I a sucker for a comfortable spot and a game of online Scrabble. Oh, that's heaven to me. But anyway, Circuit Riders at church. He went to Chino Hills to see Jack Hibbs. I got to tell you, he's really enjoying that church. And if anybody has a desire to check out a new church on a Sunday, Chino Hills, Jack Hibbs, Google it. And they broadcast live on Facebook. Also, I always have to recommend my own pastor, Mike Casada. He's, my little church has it going on, They're one of the better churches I've ever been to. And the thing I love about them for me is that it's very small, the theology is sound, and Mike is a very good speaker, very enjoyable to listen to. So that's Calvary Chapel, Gold Beach, CCGB in Oregon, Gold Beach, Oregon. So those are my two churches that I'm highlighting today. Didn't intend to, but I'm letting you know what I'm doing. So those are the two services I'm listening to today. I can't think of what else to tell you. The schedule is really slowing down now. It was a very intense couple of weeks, as you saw from the schedules that I shared. But now I have something Tuesday, Tuesday, to meet a cardiologist, because they put one of those things on me that you wear for 2 weeks. And I think he's the one that's going to give me the results from that. And I have Coumadin Clinic set up because they took out the IVC filter, which was the thing that they had me for 30 days on no anticoagulants. And I have a hypercoagulable disorder. So they put a mesh in just below my heart and my lungs to catch any stray blood clot that might form. And there was stuff caught on the filter. They showed it to me afterwards. But you don't know if that's clotting stuff that attacked it because it's a metal filter in your vein, or if they're actual clots that formed elsewhere and traveled to the mesh IVC filter. So anyway, they took that out, but before they did, they put me on heparin, Lovenox shots in my tummy. I have a purple polka dotted tummy, but I won't show it to you. Nobody needs that. Okay, I had a low battery warning. So I guess I better wrap this up because, again, I meant it to be 10 minutes and it's probably half an hour now. But so they're bridging me with Lovenox. They took the IVC filter out. And then just the day or two after they did that, I started taking my Coumadin again. So, yeah. And I'm down to only 10 mgs of prednisone now. And that's going okay. That's part of what's making me tired, but my doctor's watching to make sure that it's not doing any harm. And I really want to be back down to my 5 mg a day. I think that will make me feel better. And then once I'm more used to that, I think I'll start feeling more energetic too. If I don't, we might have to reconsider. But so overall, I would just say that you guys can tell by now if I'm not feeling real well or if I'm tired, because I love making these videos. And if I'm not making them, it means that I'm asleep, basically. So I will make an effort to make them more frequently, but just don't worry about me if I'm off or I miss a day of posting, because until this gets a little bit better, I'm just, oh, you should see me. I took the ketchup into my bedroom the other night, and then I put something back in the fridge that I was gonna serve up for myself as a snack to have pills with. I'm doing stuff like that all the time. Taking something and thinking I've got to put this back in my bedroom, and it's ketchup that goes in the refrigerator. So my brain is scrambled a lot of the time, and it causes some hilarious scenarios. But I don't know what that's all about. All of these things are all listed as possible side effects, because now if anything happens while the trial group is taking something, they have to put it down as a possible side effect. Well, how often do you get headaches or are feeling a little nauseous or a little shaky? It could be completely unrelated to the research on the medicine, but because they have to write down every single thing that happens, you end up with medication warnings that are virtually useless, because anything you feel as a human is going to happen in the time of these studies, you know? I only ever watch the big ones, the big bad ones. And then I check to see the percentages of people that experienced it. And oddly enough, I mean, if it's like 50% of the people experienced headaches, I'm going to say, yeah, well, you take a length of time and 100 people, and in that length of time, 50 of them are going to experience headaches, whether they're on the medication or not. But they do these things called controlled studies, where only, you get a random sampling of people who get a placebo. So they can narrow it down a little more that way, but that's a whole other controversy. I never used to, toward the end, I wouldn't let my mom read the package insert, because she'd say, I don't want all that stuff to happen. I'm like, of course you don't, but it's not all gonna happen to you. And some of it is more frequent than others. And the stuff that's more frequent is also less serious. So anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like I got a little ranty in this one. Don't take it that way. I'm just thinking out loud, and I'm a New Englander. And New Englanders sound ranty a fair bit of the time, especially when things just, don't make sense. But okay, I'm getting to the point of rambling nonsensically. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I love you. And if anything big happens, I'll jump on and let you know. And if I've forgotten to tell you anything that's important, I'll jump on and let you know. But otherwise, just a year's worth of healing to do, seriously. So we can expect ups and downs for some time now. And it's going to be an interesting journey. And from what I hear from all my friends that have been through it, it takes a good year. It really does. And it's going to with me too, because I don't even want to tell you how little muscle I have right now. It's not very much. They did an assessment, and I'm really needing to gain back a lot of muscle. My upper body and my arms stayed the strongest because of dealing with those heavy oxygen tanks. I had no choice. If I wanted to do anything or go anywhere or breathe, period, I had to deal with those heavy oxygen tanks. But I did not have to, I should have, but I did not have to keep moving around the way that I had. And eventually I just couldn't. So I have these skinny little chicken legs that have no muscle to them at all. And I'm enjoying my time wearing leggings and stuff, but it ain't gonna last once there's muscle there, because this girl can build some muscle, I'm telling ya. And I'm climbing Katahdin next fall, so I'm gonna need it. I'm not gonna have these skinny jeans legs for long. Alrighty, that's it from my neck of the woods. I don't know if you can hear the tremor, but it's there today. You know that feeling when your teeth are chattering, like that? Well, I feel that right now from head to toe. I'm not cold, I'm just like, jittery. So, and that's the tacrolimus, if you want to look it up. That's the drug that is the major anti-rejection drug. And yeah, it has some, you know what? I'm going to stop talking from that side of it. It has some side effects, but by golly, I can breathe. I'm still on room air. I'm doing my own laundry. I'm cleaning my own bathroom. I'm cooking my own meals. I walk around. I have to sit down a lot, but so what? So what? I can breathe. And that is still the miracle that it's been since 6 weeks ago when I had the transplant. March 23rd, and today is May 9th. Yeah, so 5 or 6 weeks now. Yeah, or maybe 6, I think we're at 6. Okay. You've listened to me long enough. I love you all, and I'll talk to you again soon. All righty. Have a good rest of your weekend. God bless you.